let's cut this pattern, but I'm not going to use this exact dimension. I'm just going to take a random dimension for the illustration. So I'm using the dimensions, the height, let's use 10 inch, the length, let it be 7 inch, and the width, let it be 3 inches. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start cutting it. I'll cut it out. I'll start cutting it out. We say that the height of our bag is 10 inches. So I'm going to measure the height, 10 inches. 10 inches, right? I'm going to measure it by the length, which is 7 inches. I'm going to measure out 7 inches. The front panel, I've cut it out by 0.5. Let's say I'm slanting by 0.5 from each end. So I will measure out that 0.5 inches from one end and 0.5 from the second end. This way. That's this way. Right? After measuring it out, I'm going to slant it down. The down part should remain exactly the way it is. It's just this top part that we are slanting. So I'll slant it this way, downward. Then this one, I'll also slant it this way. So after slanting it, next thing is to give it that shape of school bag that we already drafted out. So what I'm going to do is to measure the dimension I want to curve with, because this shape is curving. So I'll just measure the dimension where I want to curve it, just like I measured it and did the slanting. I'll also measure it and do the curving. But if you have cartoon character, those cartoon character that already has the curving, that one gives the perfect shape. So you can also use it for your curving. So I'm going to curve by, let's say I'm curving by 2 inches. 2 inches. Let me just do it on one side. I'm coming by 2 by 2, 2 inches on each end. That is for the top part. So this is 2 by 2 inches, 2 inches from this side and 2 inches from this side. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to draw my curve. Inside that my measurement, I'm just going to curve out what I want. So this is it. So this is it, right? This is it. I've gotten the dimension for this top. Now, I'm going to also do the same for the bottom part. You know that from this bag now, we notice that the bottom part, this side, is curved slightly. Why this one is bigger than this down part? So that is the same way we are going to curve it. Now, we used 2 by 2 at the top of this bag. We are going to use 0.75 by 0.75 on the down part. So I'm going to curve it also. Before I cut it out, I'll fold it this way. I'll fold the midpoint. I'll fold it this way so that I'll cut it together with this other side. And I'll cut it. So this is the shape. This is the shape of the front panel. What I'm going to do next is to measure the top part. I'll just do a rough measurement on the top part. Let's say that the top part is 5 inches, right? Let's call the top part 5 inches. Then what I'm going to do is that a part that is going to come into this one, I'll I'm going to use 4.5 inches where I want my zip to stop. So I'm going to use 4.5 inches. That is the part that is going into the top part. Some part of this side one, will go into the top part, and some part of this side too will also go into the top part. So I'm going to use 4.5 inches as the dimension of the side one that is going into the top part. Then I'll add it to that 5 inches that I called my top part. I'll add it to 5 inches plus 4.5 from this side is 14 inches. So what I'm going to do is that I'll cut out this material. I'll cut out my 14 inches by 3 inches for the side of my bag and the top part. So for the top part and the side that goes into the top part. So when I cut it, I'm going to locate the midpoint. I'm going to locate the midpoint. This is the midpoint of this bag, which is 1.5 by this side and 1.5 by this side, because we are going to attach zipper at the middle part, just like this bag. We are going to attach zipper here. So because of that, now from this place, I'm going to mark out my top part. I'm going to mark out my top part, which is from here, which is 5 inches. So I'm going to place 2.5 at the middle and mark out the 5 inches. I'm going to draw out the line. And from this line now, this line, ignore it. Ignore this line. So from this particular line now, I'm going to be slanting by 0.5. So I will mark 0.5 from here, 0.5 from here as well. So what I just did is that I joined this 0.5 to this 0.5. The 0.5 I marked here, I joined it to this 0.5. So the same thing I did here. So what I'm going to do next is that I'm going to slant it. This 0.5, I'll slant it from this point to this place. I'll slant it this way. This side should not be altered. So I'm going to slant this one as well. I'm going to fold it into two, the purpose. When I fold it into two, I'm going to cut it out. This is how it's going to look when I attach the top part to this place. Sorry. When I attach the top part to this place. So this is how it's going to look. Next thing now that I'm going to do is that I will measure this my pattern. This my exact pattern. I will measure it round. When I measure it round, I will minus this 14 inches that I cut for the top. Then add 1 inch to it for as allowance, as seam allowance for stitching it. Then that will be the dimension for my bottom part. So that is what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to fold this into two. Then I'll measure it. I'll measure it. Make sure you're measuring it correctly. If you have to sew your bag before you measure it, fine, so that you get the right measurements. You sew it, attach your cord, and do every other necessary thing. Then you can measure it. This is 15.3 inches. This is 15.25. 15.25 times 2 will give us 30.5 inches. So 30.5 inches, remove 14 inches from it. That is the dimension for this top part. I'm going to remove this 14 inches from it. When I remove 14 inches from 30 inches, I will be left with 16.5. So that's 16.5. I'm going to add 1 inch to it. So the bottom part of my bag, the dimension I'm cutting for it now is going to be 17.5 inches. I'll by the dimension, the same dimension, which is 3 inches. I'm going to cut it by 3 inches. So this is the bottom part. This side will come this way, and this one will be this way. So